haven't signed in, I would ask that you sign in, if you would, please. And then if this is your first time or you're representing someone from your neighborhood, I know I see a lot of same faces, so we're not going to have to do the introductions. But if you're new and this is your first time, or if you brought a guest, please introduce them. So we'll start back with. Welcome. Daphne, that's your crew back there, so. When you do your thing, you can introduce them.
We got a guy here.
Representing JJ.
Yeah, hi, I'm Solomon Schoonover. Nice to meet you all. I live in Rio Vista. JJ couldn't make it tonight. He asked me to represent him, so happy to be here and I'm excited.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome. Schoonover, huh?
Yes,
What nationality?
Dutch.
Dutch.
Well, I'm a mutt, so a whole mix, but Schoonover is Dutch and JJ is as well, so it was fitting.
And so if that's it,
Mr. President,
yes.
on behalf of the Council of Fort Lauderdale Civic Association, we would like to wish the.
I'm getting to that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So everyone please stand. I thought you were going to tell me about Pledge of Allegiance. No. So as a penalty, will you lead us into Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight, we're joined and have the special privilege to have Chief Fitness here make a special presentation, a birthday presentation. Normally, when you see a police officer in a uniform coming to a birthday wish, it's usually a stripper.
Whoa! Look at him blush.
I apologize if I offended anyone, but I want to put a little humor in it.
All right, Bill, I don't need the pension. Let's do it.
So with that, I'm going to turn the floor over to Chief Schultz, and then afterwards, Nick can, Officer Henry can say a few words about stats. And anything else after you do the presentation you want to talk about, Chief, what's going on, feel free to do so.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. Good evening. I unfortunately missed one of my hometown heroes' birthdays recently. So I wanted to make sure that I took an opportunity to embarrass her in front of a group of people. As she is now 96 years young. And she has been a staple in the community, but in a personal level, she has been a staple in my career. So every chance that I get to show some love for her, I do. So I wanted to make sure that I gave her a very belated birthday gift. So while I'm here, any questions for me?
No, other than
I know I don't have any other birthday gifts, I'm sorry.
Chief Golden could not be here to help in case he did your routine and give you, help bring you, resuscitate you, Betty, so.
Exactly. All right, well, I don't want to interrupt the meeting. I know you have a full agenda with a lot of my colleagues in the house, so thank you as always for what you do. All the volunteerism that you do for your neighborhoods, it does not go unnoticed. I know it is not easy. So I praise you for it and I thank you for it every day. Take care. God bless Betty. A photo? We have had photos over the years, haven't we?
Perfect. Thank you.
I didn't know that's what I'm coming for.
Well, you might not have come if you had known.
Me at the regular meeting, like always.
So I know I asked last meeting, maybe there's some newer people here, does everyone have a police officer that comes to their neighborhood? So I don't have any citywide stats. I can bring that next meeting if you want, just because we usually do the neighborhood by neighborhood stats when we come out. Are there any questions about any trends going on in the city? So it's still like the same old crimes of opportunity, unlocked cars, people leaving the key fobs in the cars, really the same old story. So the more we can get our neighbors to lock up their cars, lock up their valuables, take their valuables out of their car, take their firearms out of their car, the better. So, plenty of people are leaving. We had 150 guns reported stolen out of cars last year. Now, that's just the reported ones, and there's probably a lot more that are unreported, which is even worse. Yes, sir.
So I've had a couple stakeholders reach out to me, some that tend to go out in Fort Lauderdale in various areas. Predominantly women who have been going, they'll go to the bathroom and their purses have been getting stolen. And I just have a question. If someone was to put a purse down and someone were to take it, is that a stolen item or a misplaced item? Because I feel the reporting seems to be coming back, it's been mixed. So my concern is, are these reports being looked at seriously or kind of forgotten? So I like the trend has been, from what I've seen, a couple of people have been coming to me saying, hey, this is happening more frequently. And I don't know if that's something that you've noticed on your end. Maybe that's being looked into.
This is primarily like downtown.
So this is a couple places. This would be like American Social, this would be Rhythm and Vine, and there are a few other places, I get names, but those are like the targeted areas.
Yeah.
And it's the same people that are doing this. There's actually a couple individuals that are going out and targeting people, so.
Yeah, so it really depends on what information the victim or the person who lost or had their purse stolen gives the officer at the time. So like if they're kind of unsure whether it was stolen or not, we can't really determine, like, we can't really label it. One thing, we kind of go with the lost property. If they're like, I'm certain I left it here, I came back 30 seconds later, it was gone, someone stole it, then that's when we go ahead and do the theft report.
Okay, perfect. I could get you with this one in particular, personally, like, I don't know what your turnaround time is for a narrative to be entered, but it was 3 weeks till the officer entered the narrative, for the report, and anything has any process has been done, but I could get to you separately to discuss that. But anyway, that's the only trend that I've noticed outside. I know there was a big, there was a drug bust at AMSO maybe a couple weeks ago. You had some undercovers that went in there, which you guys did a great job. So kudos to that.
Yeah, and that's another thing, downtown is we still get occasionally the pickpockets that come down, so that what they look for is large crowds of people. They go in where people are bumping up against each other. Spring break's another big one, events on the beach. So anywhere where there's large groups of people a lot of times leave their phone in their back pocket, and it's really easy for someone to just come up and snatch it right out. So that's something always to look out for also. Same thing with purses and things downtown at the bars. Yes, sir.
You take a moment and talk about the new open carry law. And have you seen an increase in calls of people reporting, oh, we have a person with a gun? Or you seeing more people openly carrying them as an
So, no, so, I'm waiting on it because it's just one other thing that we're gonna have to deal with, but, no, so far we haven't. I'm not sure of a single call that we in Fort Lauderdale have gotten. I've seen the videos like on social media, of other places where people, are open carrying. Really, the only reason someone would open carry is to test that boundary. Because concealed carrying is where all your advantage is at. So if you actually want to have a tactical advantage on someone who's attacking you, or you're in fear for your life of them, you would want to conceal carry because you have the element of surprise. You have the tactical advantage in that situation. So really the only reason someone would have to open carry, unless it's a police officer, is that testing that boundary and kind of wanting someone to test that and record them or call the police on them. So just so everyone knows, it is legal now to open carry firearms. It's not necessarily new legislation. What happened is the old legislation that banned the open carry of firearms got shot down by the courts. So the ban just said, you know, the only time anyone could open carry in Florida was if they were hunting or fishing. And so they said, no, that's against the Second Amendment. And so now it's just open carry, not wherever you want, because there's certain government facilities, schools, obviously, that they're not supposed to be at. But yeah, just in general, yeah, if you see someone walking down the street with a gun, it's now legal.
John and then Jim.
Kind of a follow-up to Bill's question, are you seeing any trends in shootings from year to year, meaning year-to-date 2025 as opposed to other years? Because we just keep hearing on the news, it's always, there's a shooting somewhere. You know, it's not always in Fort Lauderdale, but how is Fort Lauderdale doing in terms of
Um,
Shooting
so I don't have the specific stats in front of me, but I can tell you last year was pretty busy. And this year is not as busy in comparison. Most of them occur in specific areas of the city. It's, a lot of them occur on the west side of the city. Sometimes we will get one on the beach every night. We had one at the 7-Eleven on the beach pretty recently at sunrise. We have video of that incident. We're gonna get that person identified, so I think they might have put out a press release on that. But yeah, so comparatively, I mean, there's not usually really any major uptick or downturn from year to year. It's somewhat level. But yeah, I mean, obviously COVID 2020, 2021, we saw a big spike in pretty much everything because people kind of lost their minds. It's kind of leveled back off pre-COVID levels recently.
Jim?
Yeah, I guess open carries on everyone's mind tonight. So my question is, has the police force had any special education or new kind of training associated with change in the law or the law allowing people to open carry? Are the police officers being trained or taught something different?
Yeah, so anytime there's a big, and really October 1st, a lot of the new laws come into effect pretty much every year, whatever new laws Congress passes. They usually come into effect October 1st. And so we get a big legal bulletin. And what it is we have an attorney that works for the police department, and she and her team kind of put together, what is this new legislation? What does it mean for law enforcement? So that is kind of the same thing with this new law. And they even gave us scenarios. So like such walking down the street, what do you do? With a firearm, what do you do? Oh, now they're in a school with a firearm, what do you do? So we get pretty good training when it comes to that. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Okay.
Since our board meeting, I had a request from Daphne, who's the public affairs manager for City Daphne, about requesting that we send 3 letters of support for grants that she'll be submitting on behalf of the city, and need a letter of support from the Council Civic Association. So she's going to explain those requests, and then we'll just, I think by consensus, we'll vote on it. If anyone I don't think it's kind of a no-brainer, but I'll let her explain them. And then she's going to talk about legislative updates. So you can introduce your staff with you tonight. And
Good evening, everybody. Daphne Sainville. I have a new title, Intergovernmental Affairs Manager.
Oh, okay.
Congratulations.
So I think most of you.
Apologize.
No, you're good. It's a recent change. We're still in transition, influx with the new budget that just got approved by the commission. I know some of you might know me in the little box. I know some of you in the box and other councils and committees that we sit on. So I primarily do the local, state, federal legislative policy for the city, which means I'm their in-house lobbyist, and I guide our contract lobbyists on the state and federal level. So we have 4 contract lobbyists on the state level and 2 on the federal level. I'd like to introduce Ashley Dixon, my policy analyst. Copied on a lot of emails because she's learning the ropes. She's reading a lot of bills for me, analyzing and making sure that the information gets sent to everybody timely. I also have Courtney Harris of Public Works. She's our grants coordinator. Mark Rhodes, project manager, and Katrina Johnson is the new assistant director for the community services department.
Nice.
Did I get it right?
Bravo.
Assistant director, acting assistant director. Yes, so the economic development division that I had is now in Katrina and Portia Garcia's hands. We can clap. So how many of you know about legislative session? I know I've done some updates with you in the past. Oh, Marilyn, yes. So I'll just recap it very briefly because I don't want to take too much of the time. Legislative session on the state level is 60 days, so it goes pretty fast. Right now, they've begun with interim committee weeks where bills are being filed that either preempt local government, help local government, create new policies that affect your everyday lives. Our job is to analyze those pieces of legislation to see how we can mitigate any negative effects and promote the positive effects. That is it in a nutshell. Every year, we file bills, appropriations, so funding for particular projects that are needed on the local level. A lot of them are transportation projects, infrastructure projects, resilience projects, healthcare projects. For police department, it's, a cold case reduction project. For fire rescue, it's getting another ambulance or a fireboat because the cycle of life for all of that equipment has expired. If you have an ambulance that's been in commission for about 30 years, it's not gonna get to you timely during a special event, and we don't want any accidents to occur that can be prevented. Right now, we have 3 projects in public works. The first one is the roadway resurfacing project, where a particular amount of miles will be milled, which means all those roadways where you have potholes.
Yep.
Everywhere. Everywhere will be filled and they will be corrected. And we are requesting
We are replacing $850K.
$850,000. We need your support to file a letter of support to the city manager. That letter will be given to whoever sponsors our appropriation on the state level. We get a House sponsor and we also get a Senate sponsor. We take it all the way through that 60 days of session advocating for the need that the city has for that particular project. And when it gets to the final line, we go through what is called budget conference. And that's my favorite time of the year because we get to sit in Tallahassee, get called to the Capitol with 1 hour notice and negotiate what that budget's gonna look like. So that 850 could either stay at 850, increase to 1 million, or decrease to 350 or 150. It depends on how we leverage and strategize because we're submitting 10 projects. 10 projects fit in different pots: infrastructure, transportation, health, community services, public safety. We try to ensure that a project is not duplicative in multiple pots. So right now we have 3 projects in that infrastructure pot. It's gonna compete against each other. We're gonna have to make sacrifices at the end of the day. That's just the gist of it. We're not gonna win at everything this session. But for the roadway project, it's a no-brainer. You have potholes, we need to fill in, we need to mill at 850,000, that's something we want the legislature to support. The next project that we have is the Galt Mile improvement.
Corridor improvement.
We
The final
just-
phase.
The final phase. So we just changed the title of that because it is actually the final phase of that Galt Mile project that Representative Lamarca has been supporting year in and year out for the past 3 to 4 years. So we secured $1 million last year. We're looking to secure the last 1.25 million this year. So this is where we also need a letter of support from, this committee, this council, but these projects. The last project is my favorite, the triplex pump station. There are 11 pump stations throughout the city, right? For this project, okay. That's why I have my subject matter experts. So there are 11 pump stations. We're looking to rehab 1 pump station. The total amount of the project is 40 million. Can't ask the state for 40 million this session. So we initially asked them for 5.642 million. And our lobbyists have recommended that we decrease that amount to 3.65. So what we are asking for is that you support 3.65 million for the triplex pump station. Why is it important? Because you don't want sewage in your streets. It's really simple. Rehab the pump station, no sewage in your streets. Any questions?
Where are the pump stations?
Mark, where are the
Where's
pump
the pump
stations?
They're spread out, the 11 are spread out through the city. This one specifically, if we got the grant money, is over in like the Lauderdale by the sea area, around commercial, Bayview, that kind of area. But the stations are just kind of determined based on the life and which ones need to be replaced, so 11 you mentioned are pretty equally spread out through the city. Yeah.
These are different than the improvements that commission's already budgeted for in the phases, correct?
Sorry?
The money that the commission has already appropriated in the,
These are sewers.
Fort Lauderdale.
These are sewers, not storms.
oh, these are sewer pump station, okay.
These are sewer pump stations.
Sewer, okay. Thank you, that's, yeah, cause
So, is this 850,000 just for city streets, or is it city streets, county streets?
City.
Just city alone?
It's citywide.
Is there a
Citywide.
ballpark, how many miles $850,000 would buy?
So we're looking, the city has approximately 564 miles of roadway.
Okay.
I don't have the math right here, but I want to say,
It'll be about,
I think what, 20 to 25.
yes.
But we want more money for the Galt project than we do for all the cities of, all the streets in the city of Fort Lauderdale.
So the strategy to that is, this is the final phase of the GALT project. This is Representative Lamarca's last year. We have a better chance of closing out that project with him being its last year. The legislature is prone to providing exiting legislators more money for certain projects. When it comes to the roadway project, the strategy is that we will be seeking money and leveraging federal dollars, local dollars, and state dollars. So we stack. We don't just say, all right, we've appropriated money in the city budget, we're not gonna go after state dollars or federal dollars. We really attack it at all levels, on the policy side and the appropriation side. So while it's, a little bit of miles, a little bit adds up. So those roadways would eventually all be cured.
These are getting 25 miles? Is that what you're-
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what it would to make repairs on.
There's a
the
match.
Yeah, but there is a match required, so the total project is expected to cost 12.5 billion, which to Daphne's point mentioned earlier, that's a large ask, we'd be able to request the full 12.5 billion, but 850,000 is recommended by the lobbyists, it's considerable.
and you're good friends with the governor, you've been in his office at his desk. So why don't you just change that number and sign like it's, see it?
Quick, as the Galt representative, we are grateful for this because it's been a 7-year project. And so this is money coming from the state, not the city. And so it's ready for shovel ready. So they're just waiting for the money to actually do the project. It's already been through design. Everything's ready to go. So we're
And that's
grateful.
what the goal was.
Mhm. And so like I said, it's been at least a 6-year
I was
project.
just gonna say,
So
I've been
it's
hearing
been
about
at
this.
least 7,
Yeah.
yeah, probably 7 now. And I know this is letters from this group too. Is it helpful for us to also reach out and support for these? And can you give us the channels for those?
So that's what I was gonna say. Independently, if you wanna reach out, I can draft up, not form letters, but just templates in how the language should look. Put your own personal experience as to driving through safety issues, for the pump station, how you just wanna make sure you have safe streetways, you don't wanna have any accidents happening that would harm your health. So I can do that. If you do reach out, please let me know, because if you bombard legislators with letters, it turns them off. So we have to be very strategic as to when we send those letters, and I will definitely be communicative with Ashley in the timing for when those letters should go out. At particular times during session in the 60 days, we'll request, hey, could you redraft a letter, put a new date on it. You could send the old letter too with different remarks if you want, and we'll provide that contact information for you to send to particular members of the Appropriations Committee, the House Speaker, the Senate President, the Governor himself. I'm often in the governor's office. Our lobbyists are pretty heavy hitters in giving us access to leadership where we need to be. And it's just a matter of strategy and making sure we're not expending so much energy on one side and forgetting the other, because there's also the policy side. And they often leverage your money with policy. So sometimes we have to do a trade-off. And my job, Ashley's job, is to mitigate that and provide that, you know, recommendation, advice to the city manager and to the city commission and how to proceed in certain aspects of maneuvering the legislature.
So we can reach out to you, just like, I'm thinking for the Golf Association, I'm talking with them on Thursday, I don't want to tell them to all reach out to the
Yeah,
legislators.
and if you want me to come to your meetings with Ashley, both of us will be available to present legislative updates. We do weekly updates when session starts this year. Constitutionally, in even numbered years, session starts in January. In odd numbered years, session starts in March with 6 previous, what we call interim committee weeks happening before session. So right now, we're in interim committee week 2. We had week 1 was more of an organizational, everybody has their committee assignments, everybody gets to know each other, bills are getting filed. We have, as Courtney knows, bills get filed, I send them to her, I send them to our legislative liaisons in the different departments so they can analyze it and let us know, you know, is this language good? Is it something we should support? Is it something we should advocate against? We communicate that to our lobbyists and they make sure that we're doing what we need to do.
Okay, so go ahead, Ian, and then I'll.
Policy side, is there any help for more local control of these Airbnbs?
Yes and no. That's a tricky one. Vacation rentals, right? So vacation rentals will be off the table, I believe for the next year or 2. Because Senator Pasadomo had tried to pass the bill, I believe, not last year, but the year before. It came close to the finish line, but there was called a kill switch in the legislation that she would rather kill her bill versus pass it the way it was. So right now, what the city wants to do is maintain local control. That bill would have taken away and preempted our local control. So we really don't want to play around with it and open, you know, Pandora's box. So right now, if Pandora's box is closed, we want it to stay closed. So let's not talk about case rentals. Let's not jinx it, you know? But I did want to mention when Chief Schultz was here, Representative Hunchowski filed a bill to close a loophole in the open carry, which would allow long guns to be in government buildings, schools, and other critical infrastructure. Because the way the language was drafted, as a lawyer, commas are important, commas were missing. And it said concealed firearms, concealed weapons, and a long gun is not a concealed firearm or concealed weapons. So that bill would remove the word concealed, put the comma in, you know, handgun or weapon or firearm. So that way long guns wouldn't be able to come into government buildings, schools, and other critical infrastructure. We believe Senator Osgood will file the companion bill because for the legislature, you have to have 2 bills identical at the end of the day, otherwise they don't move forward to the governor's desk. So we'll be closely monitoring that language. We did proffer language to Senator Osgood that matched Representative Hunchowski bill. So we are sitting at the table, we're working behind the scenes. Sometimes you don't hear from us because we're doing and talking to the League of Cities and we're working with the counties. Oftentimes we don't agree.
We always.
But we always agree. But I will say, if you do have any questions, if you have any concerns, you have any questions about legislation that's coming, policy, appropriations, you can always reach out to me. I'll leave my contact information. I have our cards with us. If that's not enough, I'll just ask Bill to send it to the group.
Excuse me, Daphne?
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Daphne, I didn't see
No,
your
go,
hand.
you go.
No, ladies first.
So Daphne, is there any appetite in Tallahassee about reeling back anything on Live Local with all these massive projects that are starting to pop up? Because I don't think the bill was really designed for that and anything for the impacts.
It's too early to tell because they did pass a glitch bill last year and they're looking to see the effects. Right now, they're more focused on property tax and putting that on the ballot. But we'll keep an eye out for if any bill comes forward as a glitch bill. And if there's any language you'd like to see, feel free to give it to us.
Michael?
Yeah, on the Hunchowski bill, there is also purchasing of ammunition in there, in that bill. She was telling me about that, and when I was personally was speaking to her, cause I had a one-on-one with her, she says, I put it, the bill that you just mentioned, and she said in that bill is also a person who buys quantities of ammunition, so they have to report it. Yeah.
Let me look again.
Yeah.
Cause I know she filed 2 bills, so it may be in one section and the other. Is it in that one bill?
Last question, Marilyn.
Yeah, thank you.
Actually, it's so small. Since open carry, no,
You mean supersonic eyes?
it's not in this one. It's probably in the another one that she has filed, but it's not in this one. This one is specifically geared towards the open carry.
Daphne, have you heard any word on the status of our lawsuit, which we joined with multiple cities challenging the constitutionality of SB 180?
No.
Have you heard any whispers about any glitch bills?
No.
Wow.
Well, glitch bill, yes.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, 180.
180.
I thought you said 1080.
No, 180.
Cause there was 2 that we were following. Yes, there is some rumor that a glitch bill will present itself. But right now, at the beginning, we haven't seen anything filed. We'll stay on the lookout. I know you sent some language over. Is it the same language that you'd like to see? Or that there's agreement on giving to us to advocate for?
No, I'll talk to you, I'll talk,
Side.
it'll bore everybody to death. I'll talk to you outside.
Last question, and
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I do it so much, I forget. So a glitch bill is where a bill was filed, let's say last year, like Live Local. But there are some glitches in it where in the application and implementation, we realize that there are too many loopholes. The legislature says, all right, we gotta close some loopholes or open some things here, fix it. So the glitch bill is a fixer to an original concept, an original law. Yeah.
okay. Well, thank you. And then going back to the 3 letters of support from the Council of Civic Associations, is there any representative from of their neighborhood or a person representing their neighborhood as an alternate have any concerns, conflicts, or any reasons why we would not want to support those 3 letters? Okay, having asked that question, then the chair will then take the position, we have a consensus to support those 3 letters.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll get with you, Daphne, and we'll draft the letters and we'll get them signed.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, next up is Joshua Carden. Josh is the city's cultural affairs officer. As you recall, at the last meeting, Troy Liggett from New River Terrace, they brought some issues, concerns, questions, comments about some public art in their neighborhood and the selection process. And we wanted to bring Josh in to explain the process. And then also talk about a presentation that he gave at the city commission meeting about the future of public arts in Fort Lauderdale. So there are 2 separate presentations. And so the first one we'll go through is the selection process of public art projects. And then this second one, we'll get into a little more detail because as you get into it, you'll see there'll be some options and we want to discuss the pros and cons of those options because the city commission asked for some feedback from this body. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Joshua Carden. I'm the Cultural Affairs Officer for the City of Fort Lauderdale. I've been with the city a little over 3 years now. And I would like to guide you all through our public art and place-making artist selection process. So this process is ordained with an ordinance, with the purpose being to, have more public art in our community. Is displaying a little strangely. I can walk you through most of this just verbally. So this is an ordinance, and in this ordinance, it establishes the Public Art and Placemaking Advisory Board, which is a 7-member advisory board for the city commission, all appointed by city commissioners. By ordinance, 4 of the members should either be an architect, a landscape architect, a professional planner, or an engineer, and 2 members are required to have public art knowledge or be professional artists themselves. So their powers and duties, they have the authority to make a recommendation to the city commission based on the guidelines and amendments for public art locations, expenditures of the fund, the maintenance and insurance necessary to preserve the public art collection, and the means by which artwork and placements may take place, including donations. So this is some more language from the ordinance itself. This is the artist selection criteria, so it must have maximum visual accessibility, being public art. The quality of the artwork, and must use reputable materials that are sustainable in the Florida climate, of course. How expensive it will be to maintain something, so a fountain would be a lot more expensive to maintain than a mural. If it's appropriate to the site and the environment. We do have a marine grade environment in South Florida, so it's very, very hard to maintain public art. So the right materials are incredibly necessary. The compatibility with the surrounding neighborhood, and that of course is not a safety hazard, and then any other criteria set forth by the board. So these are the main things that the Public Art and Placemaking Advisory Board considers when selecting an artist, and it's the ability of that artist to complete the project within schedule and within budget. And to make that determination, they look at previous public art projects that they've completed, previous public art commissions, and their exhibition history, which typically on their CV will be listed with their credentials and all of the exhibits that they've had, whether they were at, and government offices or their universities or museums. So I just touched on this a little bit. So once a site and a project are identified, I prepare a call to artist. That call to artist will include the budget, the site details, and all the required documents. So what they need to turn into us to be considered for the project. This call to artist is based upon a neighborhood feedback survey that we send out at the beginning of the project, asking what residents in that neighborhood would like to see the most. It goes through colors and themes, whether they want it to be abstract or something more from the natural world. So that's one option. The other option is commission direction. If a commissioner requests a certain project in an area, we would write the call to artist based on that. The recommendation of the board, and then other priorities that are identified in the city's community investment plan. And of course, opportunities arising from donations, or if an organization would like to partner with the city and fund the public art project. So right now we're in this stage with a few projects. This is the initial artist submission. So this is, we're not asking them to do any work or create any renderings at this stage. They've all seen the neighborhood feedback surveys, so they know what the neighborhood would like or what they would prefer. So at this stage, they submit their CV, a narrative statement explaining why they're interested in this project and what they would complete based on the neighborhood feedback survey, a preliminary budget, and a preliminary maintenance plan, or materials that they would use so that the board can really kind of gauge and understand the sustainability of this artwork. And then they also submit previous public art projects that they have completed along with the budgets of those projects. So if it's a $250,000 sculpture, you want to be able to ensure that this artist has completed something of similar scope in the past, and that they've had experience working with engineers and architects and GCs, and they're able to permit such a large project. So at this point, after the Public Art and Placemaking Advisory Board reviews those preliminary submissions, for the Middle River Terrace project, we had 63 submissions. It was over 1,200 pages of narratives as well as previous work and CVs. So then the Public Art Board would select a short list of 3 to 5 artists based on different projects. Then those 3 artists will go back, and they'll be paid an honorarium for their time to actually create site-specific renderings so that the neighborhoods can see them in situ in the actual place digitally. And then those shortlisted artists would come up with their full final proposals, which would include built out budgets, if they met with any fabricators or GCs or engineers, project managers, and then they would also need to submit a maintenance plan as well as the materials that they plan to utilize.